we go. Morning. You're listening and watching the Nothing Personal show with Nikki King. And we've been off for a little while. We've been sick. Well, I've been sick. My guest, I don't think she's been sick. But we've got Angela Moylan here from Crombie Lockwood. I'm going to say hello. Hello, Angela.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we're going to have a fab show. We're part of the Women in Business network. Gosh, I've got cobwebs this morning. It's been so long since I've done a show that I'm a bit flaky. It's me that's flaky this morning. So anyway, we're sponsored by Hot Yoga for You, which is down in Karapooni, and they do this lovely hot yoga in a nice hot studio. And tonight they've got beginners blocks starting up. So that's like 4 weeks of beginners yoga. So you can go and learn about yoga. And she keeps trying to get me over there. I actually do want to go and do a bit of yoga because I'm not that flexible. So I think I'll probably get over to the beginners blocks at some stage. And we're also sponsored by my business, Fuzzbox Designs. Now, we do websites, graphic design and social media, consultancy, training, that kind of thing. And we also do some video work, anything you want, really. Bit of a one-stop shop. So, and Angela, she's from Crombie Lockwood, and she does insurance. So, good morning, Angela. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, sure. So, I'm Angela Moylan, and I work for Crombie Lockwood, who are one of the country's largest insurance brokers. And my particular role within Crombie Lockwood is as a commercial insurance broker, looking after SME businesses, so small to medium type size businesses.
So, like people from one, like me, to
many. So the largest client that I have probably has 120 staff.
Oh wow, that's quite big.
Yeah, decent size. But that said, Crombie Lockwood also has the capability to look after house insurance, life insurance, corporate insurance. We run some really large size businesses within New Zealand.
Wow, yeah.
The insurance programs on them, so we have the complexity to be able to do it all, which is cool. I started in insurance in 2002. I was thinking about it on my drive-in, and I was like, "Oh, that's a long time."
Ages, eh?
When I was 20, so you go do the maths and you can work out how old I am. And so I started off at NZI in their call centre selling domestic house and contents insurance, and then had an array of jobs with NZI. They got brought by IAG, which also owns State. So I started to do not only domestic but then commercial, and then I looked after the broker relationship, so I looked after the people like the job that I do now.
Right.
So I get that empathy side from the insurers. And then also I managed a team of underwriters for State, so I had 12 staff.
Right.
So I've done that management gig, and then I started working in a broker locally in Wairarapa, and then I have moved over to Crombie Lockwood about 2 years ago. So it's cool. And so my office is based in Wellington, but I live in Clearville and work from home occasionally, so am accessible to this region.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah. And so you've been in it for a long time.
Yeah, 16 years.
And from what you've said, there are lots and lots of different roles within insurance as well. Yeah,
there's a long-standing running joke within insurance that once you get in, you can never get out.
Oh, geez.
So, you get to move around, but everybody kind of, it's like a big family. Everybody kind of knows everybody because at one stage they work together. Yeah. Normally it's State or NZI, it seems to be. But.
Yeah. So at the moment you're doing commercial insurance. So why might a small business, well, there's lots of small business owners listening because this is a woman sort of program. So it might be interesting to just tell people why we might need insurance, especially one-man band like myself.
Yeah, sure. So probably the biggest risk to a one-man band, especially if you're doing things like contracting or like you're doing, we use you as an example, where you're going to businesses to consult with them to see what type of videograph work they need or what type of website they want produced, all those types of things. So as soon as you step foot on somebody else's premise, you have a liability risk because you could knock something over, you could be negligent in some form and cause damage to a person or their property. So the key thing for any size business, I think, is a public liability insurance, and that protects you because so if you're driving a car, that has a public liability attached to it. So it's not that big of a deal. But if you're operating a business and you go somewhere, you think about the potential loss that you can cause,
right?
Whether it be you kick a plug out of a socket and a building burns down, that building could be worth $2 million.
Exactly,
and you could be held liable for that loss. And you don't want to, and so the part of the liability covers defence costs, so your legal costs, which could be crippling for a business if you were taken through the ringer, even if you were not at fault. So that element at a bare minimum is probably worthwhile having. And it's if you're a one-man band and what you do is reasonably low risk, so you're not a forestry worker, then the premium that you can get that cover for is quite reasonable.
Oh, that's good to know.
So it's affordable for a small business to be able to have public liability insurance.
Because small businesses, they run on a little sort of cash flow tight little budget. You know, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're dead wealthy. I don't know.
Well, those lucrative one-man band people that work in the cloud.
Nice.
What does that mean?
Exactly. Yeah. But then that's another risk, isn't it? The people that actually have got those IT, people who are dealing in IT, there's risks in that as well. Yeah,
so it's quite topical at the moment. Cyber liability is a big thing that the insurance companies are pushing. And the reason being that people aren't walking in your front door anymore to steal your stock. They're coming into your computer system and they're sending out false invoices to all your contact list and your clientele and emails. So there's not only that type of fraudulent behaviour, but there's also the brand reputation that's attached to that as well.
Exactly.
So cyber is quite a big drive at the moment because it's topical and it's how people are stealing things these days.
Yeah, I mean, my husband's been in IT for years, since he left school, and I've been in IT since 2000. And we, it's becoming more and more prevalent that you do actually get these risks happening. I mean, you hear about scams, and because you don't actually get involved in them because you're quite knowledgeable, you try and avoid them. But like, I've had clients who've told me about one of their suppliers being ripped off with those invoice scams, and they're pretty scary.
They're not just your Norwegian uncle anymore that wants to give you some money.
No,
that isn't a thing now. They're really cunning. And they target everyone. So my brother worked quite high up at a telecom business in their IT security department. And he was saying these people, the pirates, they're hacking just domain regions. So it could be a large corporate entity, but it could just be a little business at the same time. Like It's just whoever falls within the scope of who they're targeting at that time. And I had a friend who was doing a transaction with the bank.
Yeah.
Somebody intercepted the emails. They started acting as if they were the banker.
Yes.
And the dialogue that they were using sounded like it could have been the person at the bank that my friend had a relationship with. And the communications continued, and then the person pretending to be the banker said, deposit a large sum of money into this account, which my friend had no reason to think, the account number looks fine and this conversation's been fine via email, and deposited the funds. And they were out of pocket,
lots.
5 figures. So it was a decent sum of money for a small business.
I know, and that can just kill you then.
Yeah.
And then there's been, on the Women in Business, there's been people who have given into the Microsoft engineers, coming onto the phone, and once you've locked your laptop, your whole business is in there. Yeah,
or your website. If you get all your bread and butter from your website, and somebody puts a lock on it and says, "Pay us $50,000, you're held at ransom."
Yep.
That's a big threat to a business.
It is.
IT people do their best to secure your website with firewalls and all that sort of thing, but the hackers are getting smarter than the protectors.
I'm going to say this out there to you guys, if you're listening, the people out there who are into, in business, you're only as secure as your password. Don't use admin.
Or password one.
And always, if there is the option to have two-factor authentication, where somebody, you log in and then it sends you a code. I have that on my Facebook because I manage so many accounts. So security is really important. But they still get around it.
Yeah.
They do. So would you have kind of insurance policies for people who did get locked out of their laptop and they lost all their information and things like that? Would that be covered in a policy?
We work alongside a company called Data IT or Lockit. Could be Lockit. Anyway, I can share that detail with you and you can put it on your page. And they do a backup. They're a backup. And so they are a remote server and they will back up your system. And I'm sure, I'm not sure how that works as if you are locked out, but they will have some sort of relationship with you as to how to get you back in, and they will have all their data stored. What
was happening, I think, there was a couple of ladies who, I won't mention their names, but especially one who had got locked out of their laptop. And once they get in, they encrypt everything so that you can't actually get access to it. You're pretty much stuffed.
You're saying a hacker's locked them out?
Yeah, they've gone to do the Microsoft engineer, let me log onto your computer.
Yeah. So that type of thing is covered under a cyber liability cover.
Because she had a whole book on there that she'd written, and it's like, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's your master copy. You need to always put it in another place.
It's important to back up your data. Like 24 hours would be ideal, because then if anything does get hacked, you've always got that.
That's right.
Backup.
So you're working for Crombie Lockwood, and you're a broker, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So would you? So when something goes wrong, you would act on behalf of your client to help them sort things out.
Yeah, correct. So my kids, I don't know if they still think it, but when they were younger and I was an insurance broker, they thought I was like as cool as a fireman, because someone's building burns down and my mum works in insurance and they help that person rebuild their building so they can get on with life. So I had this cape on my shoulders. They thought I was pretty amazing.
That's cool. That's nice.
Yeah. So not how everybody views insurance, but it definitely is something that we do. So we facilitate the best deal that matches the client.
Yeah.
So that means I go into a business and I have a real holistic chat with them and the person and see what their risk is, and then we try and find insurance products to suit to counter those risks at an affordable price. So that's my job. I've got access to a dozen insurance companies, and so they're the ones offering the product and the cover, and I'm just facilitating that relationship between the client and the insurer. And then if there is a loss, so somebody's building burns down, I'm the person that they'll come to in the first instance. We lodge the claim with the insurance company, and then I'm always going to be the person advocating for them to get the best deal out of that claim. Right,
that's cool. So people building a relationship with you can be assured that you're working on the...
I work for my clients. I don't work for the insurance company.
Yeah, because quite often when you go through the bank, it's some random person in a
and a lot
centre.
Of those direct insurance companies as well, they've got their own vested interests, so they're the ones that are issuing the cover and they're paying the claims, and that seems like a little bit of a conflict. So just having that broker in the middle is somebody that's going to give you an accurate response as to what you are actually entitled to, because Joe Blogs off the street doesn't look at a policy wording and doesn't read policy wordings to fully appreciate what it is that they are or are not covered for, and that's part of my job, to make sure that the right covers are in place. Like, insurance isn't a catch-all. And there are some things that aren't included in insurance covers, but if we can get it across, then it's my job to find the loophole to get things paid out.
Oh, awesome. So what types of insurance might a business look for? We've talked about liability and we talked about IT. Is there other kinds of insurance?
Yeah, so there's material damage. So if you own a building or if you own plant or stock, that would be a risk to your business, having those items. They could be destroyed in fire, flood, theft, somebody accidentally damages something, all those types of things. So a material damage cover is what protects you for those types of losses. And then there's a business interruption cover, which is attached to that material damage cover. So the business interruption cover puts you back in the same financial position after a material loss.
That's good.
So say you have a supermarket and there's a fire and you don't have anywhere to operate out of or any stock to sell. That's going to hurt your bottom line because you're not selling anything to make any money. So that business interruption cover protects you so that you can still pay your staff some wages for a nominated period of time, and allows you to still have a profit, so you're not financially crippled by losing the business. And the business interruption cover is probably just as, if not more important, than material damage. So material damage builds the business back up, but the business interruption makes sure that you've got the money to start trading and be financially prepared when you're ready to reopen.
Gosh, that would be quite important for like a medium-sized type business, say.
Yeah. 100%. Or any business with staff. I mean, if you've got qualified
because you've got
staff
to keep paying them,
really,
haven't you?
Yeah, that are really technical. If you don't pay them, they go somewhere else and you lose them. So if staff are your bread and butter, it's important to have that type of protection.
Also, I suppose if they've got a contract, then you still have to keep paying them, unless you lay them off,
Yeah.
So you've got to go through that process. So that
definitely.
Especially at a time when you're really stressed because something really bad's happened to your business.
Yeah, and so I can have a look over contract clauses in employee contracts. I'm pretty savvy with looking over landlord contracts. I'm the details person. So if you need something looked at to see what type of insurance you need, then I can assist with that as well.
You're the opposite to me. I need details people in my business. I'm a big
big thinker.
I'm creative. I was like, it's all a pile of jelly in there.
Yeah, well, I like talking probably more than I like details, but my job is details. It's both. Yeah.
And because I used to deal with a company down in Wellington called Ink Digital, and their building went up, and then they couldn't start again. That's it for us.
And that could be they had the money to rebuild. But they might not have been able to have the financial ability to, that business interruption cover that I mentioned before. They might have gone under while they weren't trading. Yeah,
that's a shame, isn't it? Because they were a great company to deal with. A shame, big shame that
they had a bad insurance broker advising them.
Obviously. Probably, yeah. So get that, guys. You need to go talk to Angela because she sounds like she really knows what she's talking about there. So what other kind of covers would you cover? Company vehicles and things like that?
Yeah, so that's an important one. If you're using a vehicle in any type of business capacity, it's important to either check with your domestic insurer that it's covered whilst it's being used for that, and if it's not, or it is a commercial vehicle and it's what you use the vehicle for, then it needs to be insured as a commercial vehicle risk. And the reason that is commercial vehicles covers a bit broader, so there's no discount for excluding under 25s or nominating drivers. It's pretty much anyone that you give permission to drive the vehicle is allowed to drive the vehicle. The excess is a little bit more, the premium's a little bit more, because it's obviously business vehicles are used more often than domestic vehicles.
They carry things, don't they, as well?
And they carry things, So I, as an insurance broker, I own my own ute, but I have it insured as a commercial vehicle because an insurance broker is not covered as a domestic vehicle.
You could get in a bit of trouble, couldn't you, if you have an accident while you're out on business?
Yeah, 100%.
And you've got domestic insurance. Yeah,
the cover can be negated in its entirety. And imagine if you crash into like a big Volvo truck that's worth $300,000. You don't want to be the one that has to foot that bill. So it's important that you... It's one of the underlying principles of insurance is that you need to disclose all material facts. Yeah. So even if I remember working in domestic, we had lots of people ring up and say, I've just had a cesarean and my doctor's told me I'm not allowed to drive. I need to tell you for my insurance. And that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. But the underlying principle of most insurance policies is reasonable care. Yes. So if it's something that's deemed reasonable, then it's more likely to be included within the cover. But if it's unreasonable, then it won't be covered.
And you'd be surprised, actually, because I looked that up when I broke my wrist, and you're not supposed to drive with the cast on, eh? It's just like, oh, that's a bit naughty.
Yeah.
People are like, why can't you drive? I say, well, I'm not insured and I've got a cast on, it's like, and it's not safe, really. Yeah. So, yeah, you got to be careful. And
you just if you're not sure if it's reasonable or not, ask 5 of your friends and then you'll get an answer.
So that's a good rule to follow, eh? That's a really good rule to follow.
Take the majority of that. Yeah.
But I've always found insurance has been really useful. some people go, oh, you know, but it's, you know, it's always covered us. We've always had like contents and all that kind of stuff. I know that's domestic. We're talking off domestic, but you know, get the insurance cover that you need, I would say, because you never know when you need it.
Yeah, I like my clients to claim, because then they're using, like, when they need to, obviously.
Yeah, not making it up.
Just not fraudulently. That's not what I'm advocating.
No.
Because once somebody uses an insurance policy, they see the value in it.
That's right.
And for a lot of people, they purchase the insurance as a bit of a grudge, and it's not until they get the benefit of making a claim and seeing how that experience is that,
yeah, that's right.
You ruin something or something got taken and you're able to get it back. I mean, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, like, that's right.
That's where your value in that is.
So, I mean, they're coming away from commercial. I know you're talking about commercial, but like when we got all of our, it's funny, musical instruments being taken out of the house is quite an interesting one, because it's covered in the car, but it's not covered when we go and do a gig.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's quite funny where it isn't covered, you know, when you start looking at them. They're very, you know, expensive bits of kit, you know.
They are, yeah. And then if you have like a commercial anywhere in New Zealand cover on a piece of musical equipment, that can work out quite costly.
Yeah.
But then in saying that, we've got access to one insurer who specifies in single item type musical instruments or photography equipment, things like that. And the excess is $100, I think.
Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah.
And there's theft from open air. So if somebody just walks up to the stage and nicks off with a trumpet or something, that's covered.
You wouldn't believe how many times things get taken at gigs, you know, and it's not nice, you know, taking somebody's tools, I suppose.
Yeah, and same with builders on site, you know, somebody walks past and steals a hammer, I don't know, a tool that's worth some money to somebody. Yeah. But
there's a lot of builders working as subcontractors, so they would be that would be something they'd be looking at in sharing the tools and things like that.
Yeah, so builders have, like, their main covers are a commercial motor vehicle cover, because that's what they work out of, their tools, which need to be covered anywhere in New Zealand, and then a liability. And a statutory. So under the public liability, there's different types of liabilities as well. Oh
gosh, so somebody like you are good to talk to. You know, is expert of everything.
Yeah. So I don't want to bore you with the detail.
No, I'm actually quite fascinated.
Oh, good. That's good.
I'm sure people outside are listening.
So there's like statutory liability. If you breach one of the government acts, like the Health and Safety Act, and you're taken to task for that, the legal costs, again, are covered under that statutory liability.
Yep.
The fine itself isn't covered specifically for health and safety, because otherwise everybody would be breaching it and relying on their insurance cover. And then if there's any retribution payment, so if you've injured somebody by doing something unsafe and you have to pay them or their family, then that's covered under the liability cover as well.
So then you really need to worry about the fine, I suppose, then.
That's right, yeah. And at the moment the government's making a few case points in what they do with people that have breached.
Yeah, because things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, quite dramatically over the last few years. So it's definitely a cover that you'd need. So if you're in a small business, get that public liability and also the statutory liability. Yeah,
there's lots of things changing in the legislations at the moment. So worthwhile. So we're sort of getting halfway through there, which is quite cool. I'm going to play some music now. My band is back. We're back. Got my boy on board. We had a fantastic band practice on Friday. And we've got our first gig on the 29th of September. And we're off to Porirua to play at Lovelands, which is a great venue. It's an underground venue, so you have to know where it is to get in, unfortunately, and have to be on the list. But there's a really good crew down there, and everybody loves music, and we're looking forward to playing down there again. And on Spotify, we've been looking at our data, and our top song at the moment is a song called Let's Do It Again, which we performed down at Battle of the Bands last year and got quite a lot of interest from that song. And it's big in Mexico. So I thought I'd play that for you today in honour of the gig that we're going to be doing on the 29th. And this song is called Let's Do It Again, and it's by Spank.
feeling sad. You're simply the best that I've ever had. The thought of your touch, well, it sends me mad. I need you. The prospect of pleasure gives me a thrill. From the quest of this wave, it's all downhill. I want it once more, I don't want to chill. Now I'm with you. Oh, my love, we could be happy now. Oh, my love, let's do it again. Sweet excess, consuming me all the time. Oh, my love, let's do it again. Intimate moments shared by only us. The little things we never need to discuss. We heighten the tension just because I'm with you. Your provocation, it makes me yearn. My heart is thumping and my stomach churns. I kiss your lips, it makes me burn, baby. I need you. Oh, my love, we could be happy now. Oh, my love, let's do it again. Sweet excess, consuming me all the time. Oh, my love, let's do it again. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Oh, my love, we could be happy now. Oh, my love, let's do it again. Sweet excess, consuming me all the time. Oh, my love, let's do it again. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Let's do it. Get on it. I need it. Let's do it. Get on it.
Good morning, you're listening to 92.7 Arrow FM, and this is the Nothing Personal Show with Nikki King. And in the studio this morning, I've got Angela Moylan from Quartenby Lockwood, and we're talking about insurance and, you know, being a business person in insurance. And we're sponsored by Hot Yoga for You, the lovely Sherry Joy Smith down in Kurapuni. She's got a beautiful yoga studio down there, and she does hot yoga, so you can get really warm and do yoga down there, get really flexible. And I'm quite, I'm understanding the importance of being flexible because I've been doing a bit of fitness. Although you wouldn't tell at this particular moment in time because I'm pretty out of breath with this terrible flu. So I'm giving a shout out to anybody else who has had this. I know I was on a Facebook group called Wairarapa Mums that Lucy Adlam runs, and they were all talking about who'd had the flu and who hadn't, and it seems to be a really big thing in Wairarapa at the moment. So if you've got it, or you're recovering from it, or you're starting with it, I'm giving you a big shout out there and hoping that you get well soon, because it really is nasty. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So I told all my clients not to come last week. Didn't want them to give it, but some didn't listen, so they probably have flu this week. And they're like, oh, but that kind of thing can actually stop you sickness in your business. If is that part of what a business insurance could it cover that, or would that be a personal thing?
No, so there's an insurance that covers you. There's a stand down period.
Yeah,
but
I mean not for flu, but
not for flu.
But there are things you can get quite sick.
Yeah. So not my field of expertise.
Yep.
But there is cover for so. The way insurance is structured, it's kind of set up into 3 groups.
Right.
Where there's commercial insurance, which is me. I look after what we've talked about.
Yep.
And a few other things in there as well. The domestic insurance, which is your house and your car and your contents and your boat.
Yes.
And then there's life and health brokers.
Right, okay, yeah.
Crombie Lock would have all 3. And the life and health brokers, they look after trauma, life insurance, shareholder protection, so if there's more than one owner of the business, and illness, so accidents covered under ACC within New Zealand.
Yes.
They can do some creative things around ACC costs.
Yes.
Which is good to know, to reduce your ACC costs.
Yeah, they've got the Cover Plus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But illness is something that can be covered under there, and I think there's about 15 different ailments, or maybe there's 15 that's excluded. Anyway, there's a whole array of things that are covered under that illness, and income protection is what it's called. Yeah,
and you could point somebody. You could have a whole team under Crombie Lockwood, so you could point somebody to that team, because you're saying that's not your.
Yeah, for sure. So I do have they sit 2 meters away from me, so I've got a resource that I can point you in that direction.
That's absolutely fantastic. So it's always nice these days, I think, to have somebody take all those decisions away from you.
Yeah, so I like I've pitched it to some of my clients that they've had their business insurance with me, but why don't you have your domestic insurance and your life and health insurance with me as well?
Yeah,
and then all you need to think of is, because I'm the same. I had insurance with my domestic insurance with one person, my ute insured commercially via my company, and then my life and health with somebody else again.
Yes.
And when you think insurance, if you're not insurance minded, you're like, I have to ring somebody about something. Who was that person, and what covered? Where does it lie?
Yeah.
If we can offer you a holistic approach to your insurance, and you just know to ring Angela at Crombie Lockwood,
exactly,
and I can put you to the right place where you need to be, or I can be the liaison contact for you, then that just makes your life a bit easier.
Yeah, and I think we're at this. Me and Pete have been. We definitely need somebody to come and sort of look at all of our insurances, because what we did was just went with the bank. The bank
Well, I think the bank kind of. Well, not kind of. I think the bank,
they'd sell you everything.
They have the avenue, and they want to sell it to you, and they get rewarded for selling it to you. So, and Crombie Lockwood have a relationship with ANZ Bank, so because they don't have the ability to look after the commercial insurances themselves, so they refer that to us. So we have that relationship and get a lot of
cool.
leads from ANZ Bank, which it works. But then you under the Crombie Lockwood umbrella, as opposed to being under the ANZ relationship. So you've got that broker expertise. Yeah, no, we definitely need somebody to review everything. We just got talked into it by Westpac. That's like, have this insurance, have that insurance. Okay, all the car insurances and everything through there. Just for an easy life, Yeah, and when it gets too hard, you just say, if I need it, okay. Exactly. But if you don't know if it's the right cover for you, the right price. No, that's right. Yeah, I've had a couple of clients saying, look, I'm going to tender my insurances this year. And I've said, look, I've got access to all the insurers available within New Zealand, just like any other broker does. Don't tender it. Just let me go out and find all the options for you, and then I can present that back to you.
And we don't have to do the hard leg work. We can give that to you.
Exactly.
Oh, that sounds idyllic for me. We'll have to get in touch and have a chat with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, but little known, you've heard me talking about my journey. I met Angela at CrossFit. So you do a bit of fitness as well.
Yeah, I do. I was talking to Teresa, who does the body Wairarapa.
I think she's going to come along, at some stage.
Yeah, she's great. I am a fan of hers. But I was talking to her about how I quite like everything extreme, or I'm quite a full-on person and don't do calm very well. So I need to work on calm, which is hot yoga would be really good. I used to do hot yoga. Great strength and fitness from doing it, so you should do it.
I know. Good. Shari keeps saying, she's another one of my clients, and she's like, you should come along and do it. And I am not very flexible, so I really do need it.
That's why you need to go. Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I got great things, and I went for the physical side of yoga, but got a lot out of I was surprised.
Yeah.
But I got a lot out of the side of yoga as well, so it was good. It's good. You should give it a whirl. Yeah. But yeah, I am normally focused on more extreme things. So I've been doing CrossFit for about 3 years.
Yay!
I ride motocross.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I've got 2 sons and a husband and a household full of boys. You suit up and play with them.
It's a bit
otherwise you get left out. Yeah, you'd get that.
Yeah. I've got 3 boys. Yeah, they tend to come along with me. I've got them. They're all doing music at the moment. Well, most of them. Eddie's not got an instrument yet, but he's not got to MIS yet, so
he'll get there. Yeah. Yeah. So
excuse me. Sorry about that.
So I haven't been on my motorbike for quite some time, which I've been thinking a lot about lately. Last time I put on my clothes, was a few months after having knee surgery.
Yeah.
And my clothes were a bit tight, and so I've been a bit hesitant to go back, and also like kick-starting the bike with my bad knee hurt. So I'm thinking maybe I'll buy a bigger pair of clothes or wear some overalls and
just give it a go.
Electric start, maybe.
Far out. So many interesting people come on here and tell me they do something completely random, and it's so good to get that, the person behind the person, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. There's layers to all of us, right?
Yeah, motocross. It must be such an exhilarating sport.
Yeah, I'm quite a tomboy. I like pretty fluffy clothes and fashion and stuff, but I also like getting, muddy and.
You sound like me, because it's like
fast.
when we go out to spank, like I get dressed up. I actually wear dresses when I do spank, which is quite funny because nobody ever sees me in a dress. And we come out on stage and people think we're some kind of country music group, and then we kick into punk, and everybody just completely floors them because they don't expect it.
Yeah,
and it's quite good fun,
It's nice to be unexpected.
Exactly, to just be that little bit. And what I've got from CrossFit, personally, is that it is extreme. I'm extreme like that, It's like, even though I'm overweight, I quite like the fact that it's quite brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
And I actually need that endorphin rush, that kind of thing, that when it's boring and I'm sat there doing this.
Yeah, I'm not one. I like to be pushed by other people as well, which is really good for me.
And that's what I've found has been good about that for me too. Yeah,
because I'm a little bit competitive. I'm not sure if anyone's picked up on that, but just a touch competitive.
I think our Sam was feeling the pressure last week.
I was chasing him down.
But, teenage boys, they push back quite a lot.
Yeah. He definitely beat me, but.
Oh no, well I don't know. What's been quite interesting about that for him is that he was the biggest couch potato in the world. And he's really took to it. He's really enjoying it. So I'm quite proud of him for getting up off the couch and
he's
making an effort. Yeah,
he's doing real good.
And he's looking.
You all are.
Yeah, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Hey, I tell you. But I used to play hockey years ago. That's the big thing. I used to play hockey started out with Featherstone Social. Mm-hmm. And then we created a Dalefield Women's 2 team. So I played for them for a few years, me and my mate Robin. And then she went off to Timaru, and then I got disinterested in hockey, and I put a load of weight on, so I can't go back to it until I get fit. So
yeah, it happens. I played hockey for a season. I thought I'd give. So I'm a netballer, and I've played for Carterton Netball Club for 7-8 years. But one year I thought, oh yeah, I'll just give it a break and see how good I am at hockey, because at school I played every sport.
Yeah.
And hockey is not for me.
It's fast, isn't it? It's fast, and it's mind you, netball is fast. I'm not very good at netball. I don't know what it is.
There was one part in hockey when I realised we're playing St. Matt's or a college team.
Oh, the kids are so fit.
And I thought I was doing okay. I was getting fitter during the season and wasn't the standout player by any means, but, could hit a ball with my stick. And I was running next to her, and I had my stick out on defence. And I thought, I'm doing really good. And then all of a sudden a big drool came out the side of my mouth. I just backed off, and I thought, this sport isn't for me. Like, I don't have this body was not built for speed.
No. Well, when I started in, it was one of the first things I did to get socially integrated in New Zealand. We'd not been in New Zealand 6 months, I don't think, and I got involved with Featherstone. Women's 3, and they were they were all fit, and I'd not played. I was skinny then. I was like a size 12 or something. It was quite skinny. But I hadn't done sport for years. I remember coming off after the first hockey game, and I couldn't walk. It was like doing CrossFit. It's like, oh my God, what have I just done? And it's so low because it's on turf these days. It was grass when I was at school.
Yeah.
And you're getting right down, and your back takes a little bit of clog at hockey. And I ran into a girl as well, head to head, stars everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I did like it. Played for about 3 seasons, I think. And then,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And I think as women, we do seem to go from skinny to bigger to having kids to saggy to whatever it is. But as soon as you find your thing and you can focus on that as a goal, then, it's easy to say. But putting it into action, I think.
So when you do motocross, this is quite interesting. Do you compete in competitions?
Yeah, so I was a committee member of the Martinborough Motorcycle Club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so I was quite heavily involved in it for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I always rode it at those club days.
Yeah.
So every second Sunday of the month, there you go, Martinborough Motocross plug. They list a track, and I used to race. Not many. There was probably 3 or 4 other girls that did it out of 100 members, maybe. But yeah, I really want to be good at it, but I'm really not that good at it. And so I normally race in the novices with all the guys, and it's me that's getting lapped and hanging out the back of the bunch. So
competitively you would do that. So I'm getting sort of a bit more knowledge about these CrossFit competitions. Would you take part in one of those?
Yeah, actually, my husband Devon and I are in one called Two to Tango at the end of the month up in Auckland. So
brave.
Yeah, so the CrossFit they have a CrossFit Open every year.
Yep.
And that's 5 workouts over 5 weeks. And I've done that for the last 2 years. I think I maybe missed a year with my knee injury, but anyway, maybe 2 years. And that's just all done like it's an online type thing.
Yeah.
So you plug in your results, and then the top people get to go to the CrossFit World Games, and I'm not there either.
No, me, I don't think I'd ever be there.
It takes a lot of dedication to get into that top tier of
They're
competitors.
so amazingly fit.
Yeah. This is part of my problem. I look at people doing things, and they're doing, I don't know, like a clean and jerk or a snatch or a rope climb, and I always think, oh yeah, I can do that, and I'll give it a go. But then I realise when I'm giving it a go that no, I can't do that.
No, and I actually have, since I started going back to CrossFit, I have had those moments where like I'm not the best runner at the moment, and probably not after this cold. But one day I decided that I felt really strong and I could run, and I realised I couldn't run yet, and it was disappointed.
Yeah.
Your brain tells you can do it, but that's quite good, really, because I think that gives you the impetus to do it.
It does. It was one of my big pushes. So I had my ACL reconstructed July last year.
Yeah.
And when I went back to CrossFit, it was late last year. Probably shouldn't have gone back that soon, but
no.
One of the things was it was a 3 kilometre run. And about 1.5 kilometres in, I started to cry because I was so angry at my body not doing what I knew it used to be able to do.
Yeah, that's disappointing, isn't it?
It was a bit humbling to know that, you know, I had a lot of progress to make to get back to where I was prior to having knee surgery. Yeah. You know, I can run 3Ks now, so it just took time.
I wish I could.
It's a frustration thing. You want your body to be able to do something, and it's not. So.
I know. It's baby steps, though, eh? Baby steps.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the good thing about CrossFit. It's scaled, so you can take part in the... Yeah, cool.
Everyone can do it. It's functional fitness. So it's important that, you move in a way that you'd move in life.
I know, we were talking about that on Friday with Teresa, weren't we?
Yeah.
Hello, Teresa. I'm sure you're watching or listening. She's a good old sort. So if you do want a body MOT, she's worthwhile. Hit up Teresa Dixon from Intrinsic Performance, ipcoach.co.nz. And she does all sorts of good stuff. So she can give you a once over.
She's told me that my liver's not functioning, so...
Oh, no more wine for you.
Because I drink too much wine.
Oh, dear. Well, some of us can be in that position, can't we? Yeah, so if people wanted to get in touch with you about insurance, have you got a number they can ring?
I do. So you can ring me on my cell phone, which is probably easiest.
Yep.
And I'm 027 201 1202.
Yep.
Otherwise, my email is angela.moylan@crombielockwood.co.nz.
Yep.
Fully available to come and make an appointment to see you at your premise.
Oh, that's cool.
Go for a coffee, keep it low key, whatever works. And interested to talk to anybody in business or anybody that wants insurance. I can put you in touch with the right avenue for you to get that insurance put in place.
And it costs you nothing to have a meeting, does it?
It doesn't.
So, you could come and have a chat with Angela. She's got lots of things to talk about. Hey, look at that.
Yeah,
motocross. When I was back in the UK, just before I had my kids, not the same thing, you're going to laugh. I had a scooter, a Vespa.
Yeah.
I love riding that. It's so good being on a motorbike.
Yeah. You blow fresh air through your brain, right?
Oh, man, yeah. I'd never appreciated it until I did it. How exhilarating it can be just to be on the road without anything around you.
I spend lots of time driving to Wellington by myself, so heaps of thought processes go on during that time. Yeah. And I've occasionally thought that, it'd be really good riding a motorbike over the Oromataka Hill. Like, maybe a little bit lethal, but good. It would be fun.
It would.
It'd be fun.
I think it would be really good fun going over there. I see those motorcyclists going over in big gangs and thinking, gosh, that must be having quite a lot of fun going out for a ride like that. And
again, I think I'd probably think I was able to be the guy going around the corner with my knee on the tar seal, but in reality I'd be the one splattered against the side of the hill.
I know, but it's such a good thing to get out on you. And I think once you've ridden a motorcycle, you're very considerate of other motorcyclists on the road. I actually see them quite a lot now. I didn't used to, actually, before I rode myself.
Yeah.
And when I was doing road cycling in England, you have to do something called your CBT, which is basic skills, and they teach you to ride so that you can be seen. And you just don't think about the fact that they might not see you in a certain position on the road and stuff. So, you motorcyclists out there, be safe. And I'm jealous.
Yeah, both
are. Yeah, oh gosh, we've got to do that, eh? So, we're coming up to about 20 past 10. I'm just going to have a look see if I've got any news from the ladies from the Facebook group, Women in Business, and give them a shout out. Because I asked them to give me their news, and I give them a shout out on here. So let's have a look. Oh, Sherry's reminding me here that we've got beginners yoga classes running at Hot Yoga for You every Monday evening at 7 p.m. But she's got a full schedule of classes on her website. And Shane Orr's doing, is it King? I can't remember what that one's called. Key something. Anyway, it's a nice class. So look up Shane Orr's classes. They're new. And I know Karina Goff does some classes up there as well. So there's lots and lots and lots of classes that you can go to. There's not just hot yoga. She does other kinds of yoga too. And Platter are now offering buffet services. So you can go and visit them on their website, actually on their Facebook page. And you can book through there. Now they used to have the cactus taco
food trailer.
The trailer, yeah. And we used to always, when we used to practice at That's Us Music House, we used to always go get coffee there. So, and they had nice coffee, and they had nice food as well. I believe they were quite popular when they were there. So
the burritos were good.
Yeah, not too much news this morning, but you know that's the kind of thing we got. So, I generally ask ladies, that sounds such a crappy term, isn't it? Women who come on the show, what's your favourite thing about Wairarapa? Because you're well invested in Wairarapa, aren't you?
I am. So I was adopted when I was 2 weeks old from Auckland, and I lived in Carterton from the ages of 2 weeks old to 17, where I left school. So I'm a local. And then when I was 17, I couldn't wait to leave the place.
I think most teenagers are like that. Hey, Masterton, downtown, Carterton.
Yeah. So my escape was to join the Navy.
Oh, wow. That is another fact I didn't know about you.
Yeah, I'm so interesting and diverse.
You are.
So I left. And then I slowly migrated back down, and I've lived here for about 9 years now, back in Carterton and Clearville. And the thing that I love about it the most is that, and the reason I came back, it's a really good place for families.
It is. It actually is. My
sons wouldn't be able to ride motorbikes or have 3 bulls out in the paddocks and lambs and maybe they'd have a dog and a cat, but and we've got chickens where we collect eggs, and we've got all this nature on our doorstep, and it's an amazing place for children to be.
Yeah, I think
so. As non-maternal as I am, I came back because it's a great place for families, and I didn't want to have city kids.
No,
I wanted to have like kids that knew where their food came from and what grassroots New Zealand is like.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. When we moved to New Zealand, we started out in Upper Hutt for six months. It's like, well, this is not really much different to where we lived. So we sort of came over the hill because we wanted to experience provincial New Zealand. That's why we came to New Zealand. Yeah. We didn't come to be in the city. So same reason.
Woke up this morning, swung my feet out of the bed and opened the curtain and looked out my window, and I see hills and paddocks of grass and snow, like the snow-capped hills out the window. Nothing better than that, is there? I just thought, man, I'm so lucky to live here in this place and experience these things. Like,
that's right.
Just a snapshot. It looked like a postcard. It was amazing.
Yeah. And I think just in provincial New Zealand, there's lots of possibilities as well. You got the small population, so you can actually start projects and get them going quite a lot.
Yeah, we're not the hicks that we once were, because technology's made the world accessible. So we've got access to everything just like everybody else does.
Yeah, I know. But actually, it's good. I'm completely losing it again. Sorry, people out there. I've had a week off, and a week off as well. Punny, sorry. But there was some news this morning. You told me some really exciting news about Na and Alan.
Yeah, our CrossFit coaches. Oh, I don't know. Are we allowed to? Oh, surely it's been on the radio already, right?
I don't know.
You go. You can say. Then I'm not going to get in trouble.
Apparently, they've won a wedding competition to get married.
It's so exciting.
I know. Far out. Congratulations! If you need a band, we're your band, eh? And we'll come and I'll DJ for you. No worries. And do a pretty mean 80s set. You can ask Gail Marshall.
I've got MC experience actually.
Oh, we could do it together.
Well, you can DJ and I'll be the
MC. Yeah. I do a really good 80s set. So anybody who's at the Lake House at New Year will tell you that my 80s set's pretty cool. And I'm also really into old school dance, the rave stuff from 89 to 92. So I can do a really good set of that as well. And my drummer, he's a drum and bass DJ. So he does all that stuff as well. So
Cool.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Exciting.
It is very exciting. I can't believe that. Good work, man.
I'm jealous. It'll be a good story to tell the grandkids.
Exactly.
You won your wedding.
I know. Well, we did a similar thing. Well, we didn't win it, but we did it very quickly because me and Pete got married just after 9/11, and he was working away, and it was just like, oh, should we just get married? And we just did it within a month, and we had about 8 people there. I got married in red, this red ball gown that I'd worn before. And it was just like, let's just do it. And it was very quick like that. And, it's quite cool. It's quite good fun.
Yeah, we got married 2014 in Vegas.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Did you go to the chapel?
No, under the sign.
Under the sign.
Yeah.
Oh, my
We had
word.
Elvis. It was really awkward when he was serenading us.
Elvis.
But we had 40 people go. It was amazing.
What, people came with you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
It's cool.
So I was trying to lose all of my other people. I just wanted to just do the Gretna Green thing, but Pete's family
Wanted to be involved.
Yeah, so I was like, I just wanted to go off to Gretna Green and get married over the anvil. It's very traditional in England that you run off and get married between Scotland and England, and it's what people
It's a
do.
thing.
Yeah.
It's the Vegas of the UK.
Well, it's more like, if your parents don't approve, you run off to Gretna Green, and you can get married before you're 18 there. So it's like it's a bit of a they run off to Gretna Green, and that's what I wanted to do anyway. But it didn't happen. But we still married, and we had quite a funny wedding. But yeah, that's another story for another radio show if we get wedding people on. Yeah, some disasters happen there. It's a bit like Faulty Towers. But hey, that's cool. So we're coming towards the end of the show. It goes so fast, doesn't it?
It does. It's flowing.
So you guys out there who sat there going, I'm so nervous, I don't want to come on. It's so easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So easy.
I like to talk, so it was always going to be easy, I think.
Yeah, well, it's easy. If you like talking, I'll guide you through. So if you're one of the women in business and you want to come on my show, just drop me a message. If you know somebody, if you're out there watching the TV and you're out there and you want somebody on the show, just drop me a line and I'll do my best to get them on. And we can give them a grilling on the Nothing Personal show. Business people are cool. We'd love business people, but anybody really. Anybody's got a story to tell, an inspiring story. There's something a little bit to do with women, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a business that just provides stuff for women, which is most businesses. Drop me a line and come on the show. And we're sponsored. Thank you, Shari, for sponsoring Hot Yoga, sponsoring Nothing Personal. We wouldn't be able to bring you this radio show without you. So thanks for being a sponsor. Make sure you support our sponsors. Go off and have some yoga. It's beginners tonight, so if you've got no experience whatsoever, you're quite welcome to go down there. I think it's 7:30. I'm not sure. Gosh, I did have it on my phone now. Should we check that? I don't want to give you any bad advice. It's at 7 p.m. So pop over and it's just behind, it's near where More FM is. So it's just down that little alleyway there, and it's a really lovely place to go. It's really nice and warm. And if you need any sort of digital work, you can come and check out Fuzzbox Designs. We do pretty much anything, or we'll give you some advice and we'll put you in touch with somebody else who can do it if we can't. So, pop over. And you've been a fantastic audience again. Tune in next week where we'll have another interesting guest. Thank you, Angela, for being such a fantastic guest. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's been splendid, and I know now that I need to talk to you about my insurance, so I'll make sure I do that. You've been listening to 92.7 RFM, the Nothing Personal Show with Nikki King. Tune in next week and listen to my interesting guests. Bye-bye for now.